FUNCLE's Customs, where I find all kinds of cars in different places. I usually fix them and flip them, but sometimes I keep them. This is My Garage Revivals.
Today I went to fetch the interior for Scotia's Ram truck, and we also delivered it to Richards Autobody because that is where we're going to be installing it. Hello everybody and welcome back to My Garage Revivals. So yes, it is still Friday afternoon and we've got to quickly do a couple of things to the Plymouth Satellite over here on the lift, because I need to get this car over at Richards Autobody, because as you guys know, Scotia's Ram truck is also there at Richards Autobody. So the idea is that we are going to drive this car over there and we're going to leave it there so that when Scotia fetches his Ram truck, he can also pick this car up. So I have gone and delivered our 57 Bel Air to Richards Autobody. That is the vehicle we're going to use to get back to the shop once we have dropped this thing off. But we also need to go and install Scotia's interior into his Ram truck. So yeah, we've got a couple of things that I would like to do. We also have got a Ram truck of ours over there on the lift that I need to do a little bit of things on, not really much. I'm just going to be adding some wheel spaces to that, and then once we get back we can also do some work to the BMW over there. And yeah, I'll just show you guys what's going on with this thing before we actually start working on it as well. So let's quickly grab our pry tool. We're also going to need our wrench again. So let's start with this front torsion bar, because as you guys know, this car has been leaning to the right quite a bit. So I think we're just going to sort the suspension out a little bit at least, so that this thing doesn't sit, lean over to the one side as badly. So this is hopefully going to fix that problem. Alright, so now we can quickly put our pry tool back into the toolbox. And let's quickly get that leaf spring mounted. Alright, so we should be able to get this off without any problems. Right, so we've got our 4 bolts over here, and I think there's one more at the front around about there. Right, so there's the old leaf spring as well. So we'll just put this off to the side, and then we'll quickly grab this new one I got, and we're just going to install this. And now I think if we lower this thing down, we should be able to see if it sits right. I'm sure this will figure out or sort out that problem at least. Right, so there's the last one for that, and there's one more over there. Alright, so now we can get this thing lowered down. Alright, so that looks a little bit better. So I also have got some exhaust installed now, so hopefully it won't be as loud as well. So let me quickly see if we can push this thing back a little bit, because I don't want to bang the doors against the posts of the lift. Yeah, let's just go back a little bit more. Alright, perfect, that should do. Alright, then we're going to get into this thing. We're going to see if we still can get it fired up. I did fire it up earlier today and it was running quite well still. It was just very noisy, obviously. Alright, so there we go. It is definitely a lot quieter. Alright, so let's pull this outside. And luckily we don't have to go far with this thing. So let's just park up here. Gonna quickly close the door, and then we're gonna head over to Richards Autobody. So luckily we don't have to take any tools or anything with us, because they've got everything we need over there. Alright, so let's quickly jump in and take this thing over there. Alright, so the brakes on this thing is definitely bad. We need to have that sorted out. Alright, so yes, but there is Scotia's Ram truck. So we need to quickly sort out the interior for this vehicle, and then I believe we'll be able to just tell him to come and pick it up. So as you guys know, we are going to be doing a color interior swap on this truck. So the color we agreed upon was the white. So we are going to be doing the white interior for that Ram truck. So let's just grab Richard's toolbox here for a minute. And then we are going to try and sort out all of the interior for this thing. So I think I'm going to start with the bench. So let's just get to these bolts at the bottom over here. We'll go around the other side. Just open this door over here. We're gonna unbolt the bench over here. And now obviously we need to be quick to catch the carpet. We'll put the carpet back into place. And we are gonna grab the new bench. Let's just put it in and bolt it down. So that way the carpet shouldn't go anywhere anymore. Right, let's come around this side. Just bolt these two bolts down as well. Alright, just like that. And now we are going to take off this temporary gear stick. So I told Richard and them they must actually dispose of all of the parts we take out, because yeah, I'm not going to be keeping all of these things around. So there we go, that is all going on a pile for them. And then they can either sell it or scrap it, whatever they want to do with it. And let's get our new gear shifter installed. Alright, let me just lean in to get to that bolt. There we go. Alright, so I think next up we can basically remove the dashboard. So we do, yeah, I think we've got screws on the dashboard. There are one on either side. So round about, there it is. Alright, let's go around the other side for the other screw. And there we go. We haven't even admired the paint job they did on this thing. So as you can see, the truck has been painted with this two-tone blue. So it's dark blue at the bottom and light blue at the top. So we are missing a couple of trim pieces on the thing to just round it off nicely. So hopefully that'll sort out the rest of the look. So let's quickly remove this cluster, because I believe this cluster should still work quite well. It's actually still brand new. I think we ordered the brand new one when the truck got here, or when it came to our shop. So there's the new cluster, and we also have got a brand new radio in this thing. So we'll get that new dashboard mounted. Alright, screwdriver once again. Gonna lean in here and we're gonna just bolt it down or screw it down. We'll do the same on this side. Just like that. Alright, let's quickly hop inside, because we need to take off this rear view mirror to get this headliner out. Alright, so here's the old headliner. We'll just put it down over there. And I just got to figure out where that rear view mirror went. Must be here somewhere. Alright, so it bounced all the way under the seat. So there we go, there's our rear view mirror. We'll put this back. Alright, so let's get this headline installed, and we'll grab our rear view mirror again. We'll just get that into position and make sure we tighten up the screws to secure the mirror and the headline into place. Alright, just like that. Perfect, now we can quickly get our wrench again. So we are going to be installing the two new door panels. So this is for the driver's side. So let's go and put this one on the side over there. We'll bolt it down. Just two screws at the bottom. And we've got working windows. They also did tint the windows for us. So that looks a little bit better. Alright, so let's grab this one. Gonna quickly come and put this into place, and we'll also bolt it down. Alright, perfect. I think that is basically everything we need to do. So now I just need to get this trim mounted. So we've got the one for the front fender. Obviously that needs to go on there. And this one should be for the driver's side door. So let's put this one on the driver's side door as well. Just like that. So that is basically most of the trim. And now we just got to figure out which one of these go on which side. I believe this one is for the driver's side. And then as for the one on the passenger side, we are going to replace it, because this one is looking a little bit worse for wear actually. So we'll replace this one as well. And let's grab this one over here, the brand new one. And there we go. That is Scotia's Ram truck all done. So let's quickly put Richards toolbox back on the table for them. Alright, so there we go. And let's just have another look around this thing. I mean, I don't think there's any problems or anything we missed. I did change all of the headlight bulbs already, and all the bulbs are basically working. We've got the emergency light mounted, and yeah, the paint job actually turned out very well. We've got the light blue rims all around, so that is looking very decent. We've got Scotia's logo on the side, and also the sticker saying that it's a service truck and it's for a towing service. So I actually think this thing turned out quite well, and it definitely looks very nice on the inside with the white interior. So I'm pretty sure Scotia is going to be very happy with this truck, and it's going to definitely serve him very well. And we've got our ramps at the back working 100%. Alright, so yeah, I believe we can actually get the Plymouth Satellite loaded up onto this ramp truck. So let me just quickly rearrange a couple of things laying around here, and then we will quickly do that. And then once we get back to the shop, we can give Scotia a call and just tell him that his ramp truck is ready. So we are gonna just put these things down over there. I'm gonna jump into his truck. We're gonna move it so that we can get the Plymouth loaded. Alright, and there we go, it's all fired up. And let's just move it so that we can get the Plymouth loaded. Alright, I think that should be fine. Alright, we're gonna hop out. And let's get these ramps lowered down. And I think what we'll do is we'll reverse the car on for him, so that when he gets to his shop he can drive it out in forward, so he doesn't have to struggle reversing it off. Alright, so let me put it in reverse. I'm gonna try and line it up as best as I can. And there we go. I believe that should be on the ramp. Not too bad. Whoa, that is high. Okay. Alright, so we've got the car loaded up and ready to go. So now we should just move this thing out of the way a little bit and try and not occupy too much of Richard's workshop space over here. Alright, so there we go. And let's fire this thing up once again. We'll just get it into position. We did roll a bit forward. It's just a little bit hard to see where you're going with this long ramp truck, especially if there's a car on the back. You kind of have to just guess how far you are from the wall or whatever is around you. Alright, so we'll leave it right over here. And we've got our handbrake up. And let's just close this window as well, so that nothing goes into the truck, any dust or dirt or something like that. Alright, so I think that is a job well done, and yeah, I'm actually happy to see this truck go, and I know that it's going to go and serve Scotia very well. So yeah, now we are going to just quickly have a chat to Richard and see if everything is sorted out with the payments and stuff like that, and then we're going to jump in our Bel Air and we're going to head back to our shop, because we've got a little bit of work to do still. Alright, so I had a quick little chat with Richard, and everything seems to be in order with the payments and stuff. We still have to pay for the paint job on TC's truck over here. So they have stripped it down quite a bit, and they already put the primer on this thing. So these guys actually work very fast, because the last time I saw this thing it was still all together, and yeah, they didn't do anything to it yet. So they stripped it down, they primed the vehicle, and it's already basically ready for its first coat of paint. So we are going to be doing a two-tone paint job on this thing. So we're going to do a black on top, and we're going to do a forest green at the bottom. So as discussed with TC. So yeah, we're also going to decide what color to make the wheels, whether they're going to make it green or black. I'm leaning towards the black for the wheels, and also for the bull bar and also the roll bar at the back. So I think that is going to look very nice once this thing is finished and painted up and everything is nice and shiny. And also put back together, obviously. So yes, but I think I need to tell you guys what Richard and I did speak about. So He actually had a little bit of a look around my Bel Air once again now, and he made me a very good offer on this car. And I knew I wasn't going to sell this car, but he actually made me an offer I cannot refuse. So he offered me $500,000 for this thing in its current condition, just because it's a very rare car, and he said it reminded him of his old Bel Air that he used to have. So I don't know, I'm going to give it some thought, and just maybe also if you guys think we should sell this Bel Air to him, comment down below. What do you think? Is that a good price for a car like this? Or is this going to be a little bit more valuable further down the line for us to keep? So I don't know, it's really a very difficult decision for me. But yes, let's get back to our shop and see what we can get done on our BMW E36. And also we've got a little bit of work to do still to our ramp truck. We got to put those spacers on the wheels. So let's get back to the shop and get busy. Alright, so there we are back at the shop, and I must say this thing is actually a beauty and it drives like a dream. So I think that is also the reason why Richard would like to have this car, because it's been very well restored actually. It's not 100% original, obviously the interior isn't up to spec, and also the dashboard has been modified a bit, but I think he said he had a similar dashboard in his car as well. He just had some different seats in it. So yeah, this is it's going to be a very hard decision for me to let this car go, unless if he can maybe sweeten the deal by adding something else, but we'll see. But yes, I think that is going to be it for the Bel Air for today. So let's start working on our ramp truck over here, because obviously we need to add some spacers to these wheels. They look a little bit too far inwards. So let's come and undo the rear wheel over here. Alright, so there are just these 5 bolts. Alright, so that is the one. Let's get this wheel off as well. And we're also going to do the passenger side over here quickly. And let's do this one as well. Alright, so all 4 of the wheels are off. So let's get our brand new spacers onto each corner. They should stay there long enough for us to get the wheels on. Alright, so we are going with 100mm spacers all the way around. So I think that is going to give us the right offset we are looking for. Alright, and the last one. And then I think we'll just start here. Let's just get these wheels all bolted down again. Yeah, that is looking much better. Don't think it's perfect, but it's definitely an improvement. As for the front as well, yeah, it's a little bit too far outward. But only thing is we've got 100mm spacers, or we've got 50mm spacers. So I think these are just gonna have to do the job for us. And let's get the last one installed as well. Alright, perfect. So we've got all of the wheel spacers installed all around this thing. So now let's get this thing lowered down. And we'll get the arms out from under it. Alright, so there we go. We've got the arms out of under the truck. So let's jump in and quickly park this thing in its spot, because I do actually want to use this lift for our BMW now when we start working on it. So we're going to pull it up onto this ramp, or this lift, because the other one is a little bit, yeah, I don't know. I don't like the position of that lift really. Alright, and we're just going to park it up over here. Let's go a little bit forward so we have some space at the back. And there we go. That is our ramp truck looking a little bit better as well. We've got some wheel spacers on, and it definitely works a little bit better, especially with the lifted suspension all around this thing. We needed these bigger Meteor tires. So yeah, that is something we are definitely proud of. Alright, so now we need to start working on our BMW E36. So we haven't taken a very good look at this thing just yet. So as you can tell, the interior on this thing is completely destroyed, and also we don't really have door panels or anything for this car, and I don't think we're going to find anything for this car. We've got a rusty fuel tank at the back, and this thing is actually a diesel powered engine, so we're going to have to see what we want to do with this. So I was thinking of ripping this diesel engine out and just throwing in a fuel or a petrol inline 6 engine into this thing and just modifying it a little bit. So as you guys know, we do have an inline 6 in our shop truck over here, which will also fit in the BMW. So I was thinking of ripping this engine out and actually putting this engine into that car. And then what we'll do is we'll take that diesel engine, we'll get it fixed up and serviced, and then we will throw that diesel engine into this truck. So that is also going to make this truck a little bit more desirable if we ever were to sell it. Because I think a diesel is just a little bit more suiting, well, it suits a truck a little bit better than it suits a car in this case. So we'll get this engine removed out of the car and see what else we need to work with. I think the gearbox in it doesn't look too bad. So we might be able to get this thing sorted out without any huge issues. I mean, I've got some headers to replace on this, and we've got some fuel lines and stuff we need to do, but those look like they are mostly serviceable parts. So let me quickly jump into this thing and fire it up, and then I'll show you guys what is really the problem with this car at the moment. I'm not too sure what it could be. It could be a differential, I believe. Alright, let's just get it started. It doesn't start up too bad. It's just, it basically doesn't look like it wants to go anywhere. And we also don't have any brakes in this thing. So I'm yanking the handbrake over here just to keep control of it. Alright, let's go a little bit more. Alright, so let's just leave it like that. I'm not going to fasten the handbrake just yet. We're going to push it forward so that we can get these lift arms under it. And it just wants to roll away. Alright, so there we go. Let's just go back slightly with it. Alright, I think that's more or less centered. So let's get these arms under here. Because obviously the bodywork, we've got a little bit of rust here and there, but we are mostly missing parts on the body. I don't think there's a whole lot of damage to the actual body. I haven't seen a lot of damage or dents or anything like that yet. But we'll only know once we actually start getting into that. Alright, let me just get this last arm under it as well. So I'm planning on working at on the suspension firstly. So let's maybe do that. We're going to lift this thing up nice and high. And then we're going to grab our tools and we're going to start taking the wheels off from all four of the corners. And we're going to start inspecting the corners one at a time. So let's quickly get all of these old steel rims off. And let's go around this side. I believe this car was actually supposed to be a base model if it has got steel wheels on it. So I don't know if they did an engine swap on this thing. So maybe this thing actually had a 4-banger engine in it. So I don't know. We're gonna basically do our own thing here. See if we can get this thing looking a little bit better and yeah, just maybe a little bit more sporty. Because at the moment it looks like it's just a base model vehicle with a diesel engine in it. So yeah, we're definitely gonna transform this car a little bit. All right. So I think while we are here at this corner. So let's start over here and just inspect everything a bit. So brakes, it doesn't look too bad on this corner. This caliper is still, yeah, it still looks like it's got a little bit of life left in it. So let's put it over here on the table. Alright, so that is, it's definitely not brand new, but it's not broken yet. So we'll have to do some brakes to this, to repair the brakes a little bit on this thing. Alright, let's do the rear brake caliper over here. because I'm just a little bit curious about the brakes on this thing. See how well these brake calipers are. Right, so this caliper actually looks brand new. Brake line isn't the best. Let's quickly come around to this one, because obviously, as I said, we don't have any brakes. And I just want to figure out what the problem is actually. Because so far I can't really see why the brakes aren't working. Right, but this caliper is also pretty good. It just doesn't have any pads left. Alright, the brake hose is definitely also not the best. There's still a little bit of brake pad left, so that couldn't be the reason why this thing doesn't have any brakes. And usually one bad caliper like this isn't the cause of the problem either. So this might be the cause of the problem. The actual brake line was loose. So I don't know if we even have a master cylinder on this thing, but that main brake line actually looks pretty decent still. Alright, let's see. This caliper is definitely shot. Gonna have to replace this caliper. Oh, that brake line is definitely also not the best, but they are still all in decent condition. So we basically need two front brake calipers for this car. The rear ones are still fine. We just need to put in new brake pads. But yes, I think let's continue with the rest of the suspension work now. So I'm just going to take off the hubs with the brake discs, and then we'll put them on the table, and then we'll disassemble the discs from here. So that one is still fine. Okay, let's grab this hub over here. So the opposite side of the hub is looking very bad actually. This hub isn't looking too good either, but it's better than the other one. Right, this brake disc is basically the same condition as that one. It's not too bad. So I think a set of hubs would do this car very good at the front. Alright, at the back we're going to have to probably... No, I think we can actually take it off easily. It's just this one bolt in the middle. So let's just do it the way we've been doing it. Right, so screwdriver. Yeah, that is very thin. And the hub is also not looking the best. So we'll have to maybe do the rear hubs as well. Yeah, definitely. This one is also quite worn. I can just tell by all of the rust on it. Alright, how's this brake disc doing? Alright, so this brake disc isn't bad. We'll maybe get some rear brake discs as well. Alright, but this hub is definitely gone. That hub is gone. We'll get all four the hubs, brand new hubs. Alright, so now while we are here at the back, I think let's start taking parts off this thing. Shock absorbers definitely is going to be something we need to replace. So let's start with both sides shock absorbers. Alright, so this one was actually loose at the top. Alright, well, that is quite interesting. So what else is going to keep this rear suspension into place? Probably our drive shaft over here. And I really can't tell why this thing isn't putting its power down. Could maybe be the clutch. Might have a clutch issue on this car. So the drive shaft actually looks brand new. Right, so I think now let's see if we can get our rear subframe removed from this thing. It should actually come out as an assembly if we loosen everything over here. Alright, so there's our rear cross member. That's actually what they call this thing. So let's dig into this thing a little bit more. So I still can't really tell if there's anything wrong back here, but so far everything looks fairly decent. It doesn't look like there's any obvious reason why this drive didn't work as well as it did, or the car moving the way that it's supposed to. But I've got a strange suspicion there's something with the clutch on the engine. So we might have to drop the gearbox in order to see that, because I don't think a half busted half axle is going to cause that problem. Which we are going to need to replace this half axle for sure. Alright, I think let's just investigate this other one, how good this one is. Because I really want to know if I do have to replace both of these half axles. Alright, we might actually see the bolts a little bit easier from this side. Alright, so this half axle is still quite good, so we don't have to buy two of those. We've got a couple of rusty parts, so let's take the rusty parts off first of all. Alright, and also our springs at the back that fell off, they don't look too bad. So let's just put them one side. This one is still much better than that one actually. Right, so we need to get this lower control arm for the right hand side by the looks of it. And we're going to need to replace a couple of these little control arms. And we've got another bad control arm over here. So let's get this bad control arm off of this side. Just put it down there. And over on the driver's side, we've got a bad control arm over here. So that is not too bad. We've got two good ones on this side, and we've got three good ones on this side. So we just need to get one for this side and two for that side. And obviously we're going to replace this knuckle then, because this knuckle is looking quite bad. Or this hub carrier, they would call it as well, I believe. So there's our bad hub carrier. That is definitely looking very rusty. So I don't see any other obvious broken or worn or rusty parts on this crossmember assembly. So I'm pretty happy if everything is looking as it is. So what else do we have to do? We've got our exhaust system we can take off under here. Let's see how good this exhaust is. Actually, it looks brand new, so we'll definitely reuse that for something. And now I want to get this transmission removed. I'm not too sure if they're supposed to... Yeah, there is actually supposed to be a transmission mount somewhere here, which I don't see. So that could also be a cause of our power delivery problem. Alright, but let's get down. Let's get open the hood over here. Alright, and I think it's just these two bolts. And then obviously we've got a wire on the starter we need to undo. Alright, so obviously that starter hasn't got anything to do with the transmission not coming out. So there's something holding this transmission in. And it's probably that last bolt. There we go, we've got the gearbox out. Yeah, this gearbox doesn't look too bad. It should actually still work quite a while. So we might actually reuse that in our truck if we do decide to put this engine in our truck. Alright, so let me go back up again. Because now we are going to be able to see what's going on over here. Alright, so this clutch plate or pressure plate looks like it's probably the cause of the problems. And I can't really see that last bolt. I don't know where this bolt would be. So let me lower it down again. Gonna be able to get it from here. I believe that's the one. Alright, so this pressure plate isn't that bad. It's bad, but it's not terrible. Right, maybe the clutch itself is the problem over here. Let me just pick this up. Yeah, that could be the culprit to this whole situation we are experiencing with this car. This clutch plate is gone, so it's not transferring the power from the engine to the gearbox. So that it might actually be the only big problem we had on this car in order for it to run and drive at least fairly decently. Right, so let's go ahead and just remove our battery first of all, because we are going to be working on the engine parts a little bit later. So let's just put our battery on the table where it's going to be safe. Alright, and then we're going to tackle this front suspension quick. Alright, so let's start with these front shock absorbers first of all. Alright, I just want to see. So this one doesn't look too bad, so we'll put the good parts on the floor and we'll put the bad parts, try and squeeze them on the table. Alright, so there's our other front shock absorber. What does this look like? It's actually still quite new. Alright, so we're gonna try and keep all of the bad parts on the table and we'll try and keep all the good parts on the floor, I think. So yeah, I'll just double check everything before we start throwing stuff away and chucking everything. So let's get our front springs out of the place. Yeah, these front springs, they are all basically the same condition, more or less. It's not really very worlds apart, the condition of these. Right, and that one is actually not too bad, so that is still fairly decent. So we've got two decent springs for the front, well, one for the front and one for the rear at least. So it's quite interesting how we've got two good ones and two bad ones, on one at the front, one at the back. But yeah, I guess we'll never really understand what truly happened with this car and how it got to be where it is. We've got some bad hub carrier. That side, I don't know, this side hub carrier looks decent, but I think let's just stick to one side at a time. Alright, so this tie rod is shot. I think we can just start throwing the parts on the floor here. Alright, lower control arm. Let's get this out of the way. Yeah, that's also very rusty. Right, on this side, let's get this hub carrier off. See, that's very strange. Now, this hub carrier is almost brand new, so we'll have to just make sure we get the right, or the passenger side, obviously the right-hand side, when we order a new one of those. Not a bad tie rod by the looks of it. Yeah, that is quite bad. As well as our lower control arm is looking quite bad as well. Yep, that is definitely something we need to replace. Alright, and then we've got this steering link. Let's have a look at this thing. See, that's another good part we have. So yeah, I'll just have to be careful when I start sorting out the parts, and before I order any parts, make sure that I've got good parts and bad parts aside from each other. Alright, so under the hood we are basically going to take off the radiator, because the radiator is clearly leaking. And we don't have a good radiator hose at the top or at the bottom by the looks of it. And that radiator is getting a little bit wedged in there now, so let me see if I can yank it out. Alright, so we're gonna need a new radiator for sure. Alright, so what is keeping this engine in? I believe it's mostly the cables now, because I already undid all of the mounting points on the sides over there. So I think it should be wiring. And the fuel line, we did undo the starter bolt, or the wire for the starter. Let's just get our ground cable checked. That is loose, that is loose, and I believe it's just our fuel line over here then, which is very hard to find when everything is so rusty. Let me just see, I think it's this over here. Alright, so there's our fuel line, but the engine is still stuck in here. So let me just see what else is keeping this thing in. It's not that. It's not that. It's definitely not our ground cable. Alright, on the starter. Yeah, everything is actually loose. Let's just see, there's our starter motor. Right, now that is quite interesting. Why doesn't this engine want to come out? Let's take the cable out as well. There we go. Alright, so our cable was still sort of holding this thing on. There we go. We've got our engine out. So we should be able to basically get this engine sorted out without too much trouble. There's a couple of things we need to go through and check. There's a lot of dust and grime and rust on this thing. So I think we might actually clean it up a bit first of all before we start tearing into it. And then once we know what's going on with this, we can see what parts we need and we'll replace the parts we need to replace. And then hopefully get this engine sorted. But I don't think there's anything else we need to really strip off this car. The most work would probably be the bodywork, the rust and so on. So let's just come and grab the steering box off of here. So there's our steering box. It's definitely quite bad. And this little arm over here, steering arm, isn't too bad. See, we've got a lot of decent parts and then we've got a lot of very bad parts. So in terms of looks for this car, as I said, I want to try and go a little bit sporty. So we're going to see if we can get maybe a wing for the trunk. We're going to see if we can get some aftermarket bumpers, maybe even some BMW M-spec wheels and tires. I don't know yet. We'll still figure that out. But I think the potential is definitely there to make this car into something very special and very nice. We might not go crazy with too much decal work and stuff like that. As for the interior, we are going to try and see if we can do something with the interior as well. There's definitely a lot of options we've got in terms of racy and sportiness. We could go with different types of seats. We currently have stock seats in there, which is very bad. They are definitely quite worn. So we might even just recover those seats or maybe get some new ones, the same ones, but that is everything we're going to still see. The dashboard needs to be replaced or recoated. So yeah, we've got quite a lot of things we need to think about before start working on this car and putting it back together. So as for the taillights, it's already got these smoke taillights on, so I actually like the look of those. We'll have to probably keep those. We've got a bad gas tank. I think we could actually take this gas tank out if it's gonna come out. I don't know how this thing is mounted. Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit tricky probably for me to get any bolts out from this angle. So let me go down a bit with that because I want to see if we can get our brake booster off as well. So this brake booster is, yeah, it's very rusty. I don't know if this is still working. And I think our main brake line was actually loose on this. That is probably why we had no brakes. But yes, our brake master cylinder has seen better days, so we'll get a new one of those as well. As for this gas tank, I believe these are the bolts for it. Yeah, there's anyway diesel in this tank at the moment, so we'll have to get a new gas tank and also put in some gasoline. Because I'm actually very keen on installing this inline 6 engine. So we're going to be doing an engine swap on our truck as well. We're going to put in the diesel and we're going to take the inline 6 and slap it into this car. Maybe we'll tune the inline 6 a little bit before we put the inline 6 in this car. But yes, as you can tell, it is getting quite late. It's getting quite dark. And it is, yeah, basically Saturday tomorrow. So I'm going to have to try and clean up the shop a little bit and sort out a couple of things and see what we can get done. And I still need to consider Richards' offer on the 57 Bel Air. So as I said, give me your 2 cents as well. Drop a comment down below. What do you think? Should we let the Bel Air go or should we just hang on to it? But yes, $500,000 will be very welcome at the moment. That would actually make us a millionaire if we do put our money that we currently have with the money we'll get for this car. But yes, that is something that I'm going to have to think about. So thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate every view, every like. And also, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. I will appreciate it very much. But yes, until the next time, cheerio.